Welcome back, MTG Joe here. Today we're going to be doing a weekly meta breakdown for the standard best of 3 format, looking at the best performing decks on the MTG Arena ladder. If you're looking for standard best of 1, historic, alchemy, TBD on alchemy, it'll come, don't worry, I promise. Or explore, those are all in the playlist, we'll get to them. What we look to do with this, if you're new to the channel, is look at seeing the stats behind what are the best decks. We get these stats from Untapped GG. What you see on the screen, companion tool that runs alongside your Arena client, tracks win rates, loss rates, a whole bunch of cool in-game overlays, deck collection, all this kind of cool stuff. A bunch of it is free to do. Link is in the video description down below. But if you're just looking to copy the list, I'll paste all these deck lists in the video description so you can easily copy paste and get going. Quick programming note, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. Free to do. I'm closing in on 7,000 subs, trying to get there. It's December 29th, I'm recording this. I got 2 days. I'm trying to hit 7,000. I'm like 200 short, trying to make a push, be a cool accomplishment for the year. So please do if you haven't done so. And let's jump in. So this is December 22nd through the 29th, Platinum to Mythic Rank, 17,000 matches of best of 3. Notably, this is best of 3, so 2 to 3 games, depending because you're playing best of 3. So 34 to 51,000 games. Gonna kind of preface, the theme in standard best of 3 is the color green doesn't exist. Magic the Gathering is 4 colors. It's really black, red, X, and blue, white kind of going at each other in various capacities. The color green is just the kid in the corner eating glue. It's not really doing anything. The top performing deck by a large margin this week is Grixis Midrange, 76% win rate. And this is kind of the de facto best deck of the format. It's got all the bangers. Fable the Mirror Breaker, one of the most powerful cards in Standard, hitting multiple formats. Sheoldred, Invoke Despair, got the Corpse Appraiser, Card Advantage Engine, Blood Tithe Harvester removal engine with Fable, plays beautifully. Whole smattering of removal, abrades, go for the throats, cut downs. Your Bank Busters as your card advantage, make disappear as counters. And the sideboard, as we always do with this, is what matchup would you bring these in for, kind of at a high level. Cut down, go for the throat, obliterating bolt, parasitic grasp, brotherhood's end, all just removal. In the creature heavy matchups, they're all very good. In the soldiers matchup, they're all humans, so this also incidentally gains you 3 life and only costs 2 mana. Duress, negate are for the more control-y combo, or the more control-y-ish decks. Siphon Insight's also very good into the mirror and other mid-range decks, similarly with Liliana. And Blade Coil's a nice top end in terms of the grindy matchups. Just being able to draw you cards, attack your opponent's hand, and just be a good haste attacker. From black-red, blue to blue-white, black, we got Esper mid-range. And this is a kind of... So we've seen the heroes, or not the Legends version. We've seen the more aggressive version. This version here is kind of in between, mid-rangey package. We see the Siphon Insight's main board to deal with the Grixis matchup. This deck had a 59% win rate. We have the removal package, Destroy Evil, Go for the Throat. And this engine's basically, if you're not playing Fable the Mirror Breakers, you should be playing Rafine's and Wedding Announcements, which this deck is. Rafine's kind of draws the good half, throws away the bad half, helps you dig, makes your things bigger. It's the big kind of payoff of being Esper. 5 counters in the main board, like the removal, Denic, good lifelinker, 2 bodies in 1, shuts off some of the graveyard targeting abilities, stuff like Corpse Appraiser. So this is targets a creature from a graveyard, or targets a card. Exile up to 1 target creature card. So this could only attack creature cards. So this would shut it off. Prevent the card advantage. Sheoldred, again, just one of the houses of Standard. You have Wandering Emperor's removal, flash threat. AO finds you all these threats here as well. Mana base, you got the Plaza Heroes, also pairing with a bunch of Legends, all the creatures in this deck. So we're not seeing any underdogs in this version. We're not seeing the blue-black legendary 4-drop Urtai. This is just kind of lean, mean muscle machine. Similarly, you have the removal package, cut down, go for the throat. Rona's Vortex is kind of catch-all bounce. the grind elements and Bankbuster, Siphon, extra counters, Duress, and then Farewell as a big cleanup against the aggressive or like random anvil pile or stuff like that. Then go to Azorius Soldiers at 57%. So this is deck very popular in best of one. Interesting tech here. You have Mindlink Mech. So whenever Mindlink Mech becomes crewed for the first time until end of turn, it becomes a copy of target non-legendary creature, except it's a 4/3 vehicle and has flying. So stuff like Guardian of Nubenalia suddenly gets flying, Denic gets flying in a boost. You can make copies of Valiant Veteran or the Sky Strike Officer. So just kind of some utility there. It's an interesting inclusion. It's also got the Kyla Reconstruction, so no Thalia in this version. Kind of more grind elements with it. This also protects against sweepers. You still have your Siege Veteran, Sky Strike Officer as your 3-drops. Only one of the 1-drops, no Yodian, the artifact dude that pumps on attack. You still have your Denics, you got your Nubenalias, and Harbin as your top end there. The draw of the Soldiers archetype is access to Fortified Beachhead, which allows you to pump your soldiers as well. Sideboard. Counters for like the big mana decks, anything heavy non-creature spells. Malavin Hermit good against all the heavy removal non-creature decks. Brutal Cathar for creature mirrors. Kyla's Reconstruction for the grind. Lauren of the Third Path, artifact enchantment removal. And then Steel Seraph is a good lifelink racer in that regard. We then go to Mardu Angels. So this is another mid-range pile. So you still got the engine, Fable, Bloodtide Harvester mixed in there. This version's opting to go with stuff like Wedding Announcement, Inspiring Overseer. So you got an Angels package. A lot of good things to blink. So Jada gets you into Overseer, Archangel of Wrath lets you pump in a bunch of mana to kill stuff and gain life. And then Sanctuary Warden on the top end. Still the elements of like AO, still have some removal. This is versions on like the Brotherhood end as well to kind of catch you up. Shieldred because it's busted. Just lots of mid-range piles. It's been a lot of the same in standard best of 3, and it's somewhat hard to be excited every week to talk about the same 8 cards. Like, how many times can I talk about Shieldred? Like it's something new. Again, mid-range, kill things, Graveyard Hate, which isn't as relevant anymore. Bankbuster for guard advantage, Sweepers versus the aggro decks, Soul Transfer, Catch-All, Planeswalker, and Planeswalker and Creature Exile. Very good against stuff like AO, Sanctuary Warden. Another Shieldred versus aggressive decks, Wandering Emperor as Exile, and Gix Command as a way to, in the grindy matchups, to buy back your additional spells or creatures. And this is one of the newer decks of the format, 57% win rate. This is the Izzet, they're calling it Izzet Tempo, but it's the Izzet Skitterbeam Battalion Smack You in the Face ramp deck. So what are we trying to do here? Make a bunch of mana. Stern's Lesson draws you cards, gets you Power Stones. You have Might Stone that ramps you. You have Fable the Mirror Breaker treasure tokens that ramp you. You have a bunch of interaction early between Abrades and Brotherhood's End. And then you pair that with a bunch of counters, Reckoner Bankbusters, and then you're topping out on Cityscape Leveler to blow up stuff. And then the Skitter Beam Battalion, which can either be prototyped for 5 mana and give you 3 2/2s with haste and trample, or you cast it for 9 and you get 3 4/4s trample haste. So it's kind of the big top end effect of the deck. And then the sideboard, again, just counters for bigger mana decks, Strangle, Voltage Surge, another Brotherhood's End for the aggressive decks, Stroke versus big mana decks. Really good in the mirror too, since like their top end is basically these 3 cards that try to win the game. And then Thran Spider versus the aggressive decks, just a good body for 3, also helps you ramp. And then Saheeli's good against kind of the grindier matchups with a lot of creature removal. Lets you create artifacts, gets you some draw, and is an emblem effect as well. That's it for standard best of 3. Let me know in the comments what you've been playing. And like I mentioned, if you can, hit that subscribe button. Helps me out on the channel, costs you nothing, gets me closer to a goal that I've had for the year. And yeah, have a great one. Happy New Year's if we don't chat. And we'll see you in the new year for more Magic.